My name is Denny S. Bryce, and I'm the author of Wild Women and the Blues. But today I am here to talk with debut author Elizabeth Gonzalez, and she's here to talk about her brand new book, her first book, Mona at Sea. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good. How are you, Denny?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fabulous. I want to just dive in. Tell me
Okay,
about this book. Let me see that cover. I see the cover in the background. It's great, but we
thank
want to get
you.
it up close. It's a
Yes,
beautiful
there
cover, by
it
the
is.
way. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So Mona at Sea is a dark comedy. It's a coming of age story about a young woman who loses her Wall Street job during the 2008-2009 Great Recession and has to move back in with her parents in Tucson and basically just figure out what she's going to do with the rest of her life. So that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a fun, dark comedy
Mhm.
about a big transition in a young woman's life. I think your character is a millennial. So
Yes.
it's really telling that millennial story. How do you define a millennial story?
Yeah, millennials, as I understand it, were born between 1980 and 2000. And I think what really makes it a millennial story is that I'm also a millennial. I'm an elder millennial or a geriatric millennial, as some people want to call us now.
Okay.
Um, and our lives have been marked by a lot of economic instability. We graduated high school, college, grad school into these terrible economic situations, a war with Iraq, and at the same time that social media was really changing the way that people connected,
Yeah.
and we've had to respond to all of these changing circumstances on the fly, and it's been really difficult. And so my character is not only going through unemployment caused by the Great Recession. In the first chapter, she also becomes the subject of a really embarrassing viral video, which is another thing that's marked the adulthood of a lot of millennials, is having to
Yeah.
navigate that space. How do we deal with unwanted social media attention? And yeah, so I think I address both of those things in the book, and I think they'll be hopefully resonant with a lot of readers.
It's almost like it's a redefinition of privacy and what is your public self versus your Facebook self. I mean, now that you bring up all of these key points, I mean, what a time period to be brought up with. Identity becomes such a strong thing to fight for, frankly, because it's messed up and everything else that is so public about it.
Absolutely.
And your story, in your story, which has been getting fabulous reviews, congratulations.
Thank you.
People are talking about this, loving this. How does it feel after, well, how long did it take you to write your first debut novel?
Yeah, it was a really long journey. It took 10 years from when I first started writing the rough draft until when it'll actually be in stores.
Right. Which is
Yeah,
today, which is
yes,
today.
which is
Right.
today.
It's
It's
like,
available anywhere books are sold.
that's right. That's right. Well, yeah. How does it feel to have this baby that you've raised for 10 years out in the world? What is this day like for you? What does it feel like?
Yeah, I have a lot of complicated feelings because it did take me 10 years to get the book published. And it's because I actually got an agent in 2015 and went on submission with Mona at Sea. And it went out to all the editors, and everybody said, it's hilarious, but we don't know how to market it. And so we're not going to pick it up. And so in 2016, I actually gave up on it and I put it in a drawer for several years. And
Wow.
I would send it out here and there to small presses and contests and stuff, not really expecting anything to happen. And I moved on. I
Mhm.
totally gave up on it. And then in 2019, I entered it into the Santa Fe Writers Project. They have an annual literary awards, and I entered it and I became a finalist, to my utter shock. And they offered me a publishing contract. And so now that it's actually out in the world, I'm excited, I'm proud, but I'm also terrified because I'm like, it's a weird, dark book in some ways. It's completely accessible in other ways, but I'm like, I just don't know. I think some people will love it. I think other people will not love it. And so I'm just scared, you know. It's my
Yeah.
baby. It's terrifying, and it's a baby that I already put in the drawer. And so yeah, for it to be out in the world, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I do understand that fear, most definitely, because you just don't, that reaction response. And it's like until you start to become desensitized, because there are people who will love it. And I think that will be everyone.
Mhm.
Now, tell me a little bit more about what your plans are for your debut, because what's exciting, so many authors the last year have been debuting during the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm having a hybrid book tour. So some virtual events and some in-person events. And I'm super excited and super grateful that I get the opportunity to actually see people in person. And as for what I'm doing today, I do not have any book launch events for today. And we're in Richmond visiting my brother-in-law and my brand new niece, who I haven't had a chance to visit yet. So I got a cake and we got some champagne, and I think we're just going to have a little family party here and enjoy ourselves. And yeah, I really want to talk about the cover. Nobody has asked me about the cover, and it's just so beautiful, and I'm so in love with it. My neighbor actually drew it. She's her specialty is hand lettering and hand drawing, and so she actually researched Mexican hand-drawn signs of like the 1930s and stuff, and she created the font out of that. And then you can see Mona there in her cap and gown. She's based on Mexican bingo cards or loteria cards, which I grew up with. And so the whole thing has a very like Mexican-American border kind of feel to it. And I absolutely love it. I think it completely captures the whole essence of the book. So yeah, I just signed with an agent to represent my second book, which is a total 180. It's a magical realism Western about my great-grandfather who was a bandito. He was shot in the face by the Texas Rangers and left for dead, but he lived, and they called him El Tragabalas, which means the bullet swallower. And so that's
my God.
my
Oh, right.
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Denny, you read some of it.
Yeah, right,
Years ago.
right. Well, congratulations on your debut. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. And once again, everyone, this is Elizabeth Gonzalez. The name of her book is Mona at Sea. It's fabulous. Go get it.